Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We are here again in our live stream with a very special guest today, and with Carla, as always, who help us here as well to make things smoothly. And I would like to introduce to you Karen Cruz. She is the founder of Flourish Minds, and I'm going to invite Karen to tell us a little bit about herself and her background. So, Karen, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. I'm quite honoured and slightly nervous, actually.
Our pleasure. And don't be nervous. We are,
Um,
among friends here, and it's gonna be very nice. So,
um,
tell us a little bit about yourself, Karen.
so yeah, I'm Karen Cruz. I'm a mum and a wife. My daughter's 15, so she's just going through year 11 at school, which is very strange. I'm from the UK, and I have two coaching companies.
Okay. And which are your coaching companies? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I started with Cruise Coaching Consultancy about 5 years ago, and which has gone very well. And then I set up Flourished Minds in January 2020. And I can explain why I did that as we have our discussion. But yeah, so we've got two companies. So I'm greedy.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. That happens when you have lots of ideas and you just want, to be in one market, but then you see that there is a need in another market, so then you just cannot make up your mind, and you end up with two or three or more businesses, which is actually very needed at the moment. Karen, I would like to ask you about coaching and about your personal journey with coaching. So,
Mhm.
tell us how coaching changed your life.
Absolutely massively. So my background, I left school without any GCSEs whatsoever. So I'm one of those children that was written off at school, and I'm talking in the 70s. So I'm 58. So when I went to school, it was the 60s and 70s, and we came from a predominantly black community that went into a school that a few years before was predominantly white, and the expectations of us was pretty limited. And I left school with nothing, partly as a result of that. So I remember speaking to my careers officer saying, I want you to be a teacher, and they just laughed and said, you probably need to go to be a secretary, go to secretarial college. So I'm like, okay. So I did. And I actually then fell into, I actually got a job as a secretary in social housing. And I actually stayed in social housing for 31 years, 6 years in one organisation and 25 in the last organisation that I was at. And that's where I was introduced to coaching. So our chief executive was very, very forward thinking, and he would encourage me to apply for different jobs and go for promotion and do all those things we hated, like presentations and stuff. And then when I got to a certain level, he suggested I go back to college. And I was like, boss, I can't go to college because I can't learn. They've told me at school I'm not good at learning. And he was like, no, we need you to. And they paid for me to go. I failed the first and second year. I was like, oh, told you, typical. But I passed the third year because I kept going. And I got promoted more and more through the organisation until I became quite a senior manager. And he said, at this stage, we really need you to get a degree. I was like, boss, there is no way people like me go to university. It's just, I just can't. And he was like, you can and you will. So I went to university, and happy to say I passed, and I got a bachelor's degree with honours at university. And it was at that time I really started to think, I wonder if they've got it wrong at school. They must have got it wrong at school, because if I can go to university and get a degree, surely I could do my GCSEs. Anyway, so I became a senior manager for what became one of the biggest housing associations in the county that I live in, which I still pinch myself when I say that, and had no intentions of leaving. But because we'd been through so much change, he introduced coaching to us. he got coaches in to coach us as senior managers to help us with the change. And I was like, this stuff is like magic. So absolutely loved it. And then he offered us the opportunity to train and qualify as coaches. And obviously, I was first in the queue. So that was about 15 years ago. And I had no intentions of leaving. And then my husband was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor and given 18 months to live. So I left my career to stay at home and look after him. And quite a difficult 18 months. And we got through to about 2 years and realized he was actually doing quite well, better than his prognosis. And I thought, this is it. I've always wanted to work with children. This is the kicker for me. This is my thing where I really need to go and do what I wanted to do with my life, because life is too short and it's unpredictable. So I'm just going to go for it. But I wanted to teach, but I still didn't have my GCSEs, because although I got my degree, it was linked to housing. So I thought, I'm going to go back to college and I'm going to sit my GCSEs. So I enrolled at college at the age of 52. I was the oldest in the class with 16-year-olds who didn't want to be there. I was older than most of the lecturers, but I was determined, and I absolutely smashed my GCSEs. So in those days, back 6 years ago, whenever it was, there were still letters. So I got an A in English, which I was pleased about, because I loved English. Got an A in English. I passed my maths, my sciences. I was like, ah! And I thought, right, I'm going to go teach. And then nearly every teacher that I met said, oh, you really want to make a difference to children's lives, teaching isn't it right now. I was like, what? And I thought, what am I going to do? And then I thought, coaching. I'm going to use coaching and my lived experience to work with young people and help them to realise their abilities, capabilities, and what they were born to offer into this world. And so I started just going around schools and telling them what I wanted to do. And although I was well known in housing, I wasn't known in the education system. So I really had to kind of prove myself. So I was saying, give me some children, I'll do 6 weeks of voluntary work. If you like what I do, fine. And if you don't, fair enough. And every school, college, university kept me on, paid, and absolutely loved it. So I set up Cruise Coaching Consultancy, having no idea about how to do a business. I just liked the name, so I thought I'm going to register that with Company's House. I started Cruise Coaching Consultancy. That went fabulously well for 5 years. And then we realised that the children that we really wanted to help, the communities that we wanted to help, the parents that we wanted to help couldn't afford us. And so I thought, right, I'm going to set up a social enterprise. And so I set up Flourished Minds in January 2020, which was interesting because then lockdown happened in March 2020. And we were like, okay, then this is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I have to tell you, these last 12 months, we have been absolutely busy to the point where we are now looking at expanding the business. And we've managed to be successful, and we won bids just over £60,000 of bids that we work in partnership with schools to deliver coaching to young people. So then obviously the schools don't have to pay, we still get paid, but they get our services for free. We work in the community with children and parents. We're doing all sorts. That one of the professors who was at university who first worked with me, he's now one of my directors, and our company is just going from strength to strength. We're coaching in the UK, we're coaching in the Netherlands, we're coaching in Canada, and we're talking about, looking at how we can franchise the company and how we can expand to reach as many young people as possible. So yeah, coaching did change my life like dramatically.
Wow. It's very inspiring, everything that you're sharing with us. And I would like to share as well some of the comments. And Carla, can you help me read them, please?
Yeah, we've got Martin Richards says, you can and you will. Powerful words. And he also says, this stuff is like magic. I think in reference to what Karen was saying. And also he says, I think maybe perhaps the school got it wrong when they said you couldn't learn. For sure, they definitely did. And also Martin also says what they were born to offer the world, inspiring words. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to go back to this, which is the school got it wrong when they said you couldn't learn. Because when you were talking about your story and the fact that someone actually, let's say, inspired you in a way to say, you know what, you can and you will do it. How do you think those words can actually change something inside students or young people that sometimes needs that little extra motivation or inspiration or boost? How do you think that is actually that can work and that can help?
I think it absolutely helps massively. And when we work with young people, we never start with academics. And I'm very open with schools. It's never about what grades would you like to get in your GCSEs. We start with, what do you love? What makes you happy? What are you good at? And they might say, oh, miss, I'm no good at math. And I'm like, forget school. Just tell me what you love and what you're good at. So we had one young boy who, he spent half an hour telling me about Minecraft, which I knew nothing about. And he was saying, and I can do this, and I build all these worlds, and I do this, that, and the other. And he said, oh, but I'm boring you, and I'm like, you're not boring me, because what you've just shown me is you're very good at explaining things. I now understand something I didn't understand. You're eloquent. You've told me how you've planned your different worlds, so you can strategize. You've built a strategy, and you've practiced it, and you've focused. So you have already got everything inside of you that you need to be successful. Everything. All we need to do is apply those skills that you've got in Minecraft to the other things that you want to do well at. And when I said about being on this earth to live, the reason they've been put on this earth, we say to children, you were not put on this earth to be here and suffer and die. You were put on this earth to shine. So our job is to find your spark. Our job is to find what you're amazing at, and then we're just going to blow it up. So, and we never, if children say to me, I want to be an astronaut, what they don't get from us is, don't be ridiculous. We go, right, what do we need then to help you to be an astronaut? And then they go, no, miss, are you being serious? I'm going, I'm serious if you're serious, I'm ready. What do we need to do? So I think it is refreshing for them to hear someone go, actually, you can. And you're really right, Angela, because it was my boss who, I still talk about him as one of my influences in my life. There was him, there was my mum, and we were lucky enough to have a black head teacher at my middle school who totally inspired us. So to walk into a school in the 70s and see a black head teacher, someone who looked like your mum, that was like, whoa. So I think it makes an absolute massive difference. And as I said, nothing they want to do is out of reach for us. We're like, okay, let's go. And they're like, are you being serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. So I think it is just refreshing for them to hear. And it's not that we just say it and walk away. We give them examples of, if you're good at this, then we can show you how you can use that to be good at something else. So I think it makes a huge difference.
Amazing. Definitely, it's important that the education system focuses more on what children can do and like doing, instead of actually trying to focus on what they're not achieving, what they're lacking of, and what they're and the bad grades, because that's where they get the more attention. If you think about it, when everything is good, everything is perfect, to put it that way, it's like, okay, you're done well. But when they're lacking of something, they start like pushing so much into try to get it, instead of actually asking powerful questions like, what do you like doing? What is it that you're interested in? So what you're telling us is amazing. And I'm sure that it's very inspiring for lots of teachers, lots of schools, lots of educators, and also coaches that are listening to us today. I'm going to share more comments from the audience, and we are going to go through them a little bit. I'm a bit, wow, so many comments. Let's see where we left. Okay, here.
Okay, so Martin says, it may have been true that you couldn't learn from them. Perhaps that was their cry for help.
maybe.
Jamila says, great insights, very true. Coaching makes magic.
It does.
And we've got one here from someone in the race community, says, what do you love? What are you good at? Amazing questions to start a conversation.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that will definitely, make change the mindset of the
Absolutely.
completely,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. When have they asked that in school? Very, very rarely.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamila says, Dr. Karen Becker, what about the students who didn't respond to coaching?
Well, we've had very few, and usually the children that haven't responded to coaching have needed something else. So we're very open and very honest, and we know our professional boundaries. So some children need counselling rather than coaching. And what happens, not often is some of the schools that we're at, but what we have seen happen before, that schools have sent us children that need something more. It's just been, well, let's send them to Flourished Minds. But we're very honest about where our capabilities lie. We're not scared to say, actually, this is beyond us. So usually it's been children who need more than coaching, who need counselling, who have some real deep emotional issues. But apart from that, we haven't really come across children who haven't responded to us, because sometimes it can take some time before we even get to what they want in life, because the first thing we're trying to do is build some trust with those children. That can take any form. We pride ourselves on the fact that we call ourselves quite intuitive coaches. So I don't go to a child with a workbook or a program, or we're going to go through Grow. We let that child lead. So a few months ago, I posted something on LinkedIn where with one of the children, it was trying to get him to understand a bit about resilience and the importance of keeping going. And he happened to mention about skipping, and he wasn't good at skipping. And I was like, I can skip. He's like, can you skip me? So I'm like, yeah, but I've got a skipping rope. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. So we started doing some skipping in the class. And I was getting more than him, and he was like, oh, I'm not playing anymore because you've got more than me. And I'm like, let's keep going. And we kept going until I could not beat him. And he was like, wow. And then we just used that as a lesson to go, so what's important is about keeping going, keeping trying. So I can't even remember what the question was, but we don't really lose children so much unless, as I said, it is something different that they need to coaching. And we know when we need to say, this is a bit beyond us. And we're humble enough to say that.
Okay. I love that you bring that to the table, because it's very important for us as coaches to be responsible and to say no as well. I mean, we always talk about boundaries, we always talk about responsibility, but that also comes when we know and we see that maybe someone doesn't need coaching and maybe needs something else, and we need just to, step back and just, send it somewhere else, or
Yeah.
just suggest something different, because it is very important. We're going to carry on with some of the comments here because they're piling up. Okay, so let me carry on.
Yeah, again, from the race community, you were put on this earth to shine. Love it.
That's amazing. Powerful, empowering, that is.
Martin says, that's the key. You can.
Yeah. Important.
Race community again. Do teachers reach out to Flourished Minds too?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, so I have a coach. Most coaches have a coach or a mentor, and I have a coach. And when I first started coaching, I was saying, well, I can coach adults and I can coach this. And she was like, right, what you really need to do is find your niche, your passion, and you need to niche down, because, and I thought niching down, when you start your business, you're a bit nervous. Niching down will mean I won't get very many customers. I'll be able to help very many people. And she always said to me, when you niche, become good at what you do, other people will come to you, which I never believed. And it's without a doubt, she's been absolutely right. So we have had teachers, they've asked us to go in and work with students, and then they've asked that question, so how did you do that? They've sent children to us and said, we've sent you this person, this child, but you won't get much out of them. And at the end of the session, they've said, so how did it go? And they didn't stop talking. Well, how did you do that? And so we started to talk to them about the types of questions that we use, about our own mindset, about what our intentions are. And they have started to ask us to work with their staff. So the most beautiful program we did about 6 months ago, we coached the child, we coached their teacher, and we coached their parent. And those children made us look so good. They came on in leaps and bounds amazingly, because the teachers were really thinking about how they approach the children and the words and the language that they use, and the parents were doing the same, and we were giving them tips around how to have great communication, great conversations with the children. And we say this, and some people think it's a bit cheesy and it's a bit strange, but we love all the children that come in front of us. We love every child that comes in front of us, and we say to children, we don't care about your past. Not that we're not bothered, but it's not important for us to help you to move forward. And so again, like I said, it's just very, very refreshing. But yes, so we're working in a school right now, and with young children, and they've asked us to look at how we can do some work and some training with their pastoral team, again, in terms of what we've done with the children that we're working with. So we're getting more and more of that. And I think I might have said to Martin in another session, one of the things we're really we'd love to be able to do is to get involved at the teacher training stage. So at that stage, we can talk to teachers about your intentions, your communication, your language, your approach. You know, when a child behaves in a certain way, I heard myself say to a teacher today, their behavior is telling you that all is not well. They didn't wake up this morning with the intention of kicking chairs and swearing. They are saying to you, it's a form of communication, all is not well with me. Our job is to use language to find out what is going on. How can I help you more? What can I do differently? What were you thinking at the time when this happened? You know, so yeah, we're doing lots more work with teachers, and we want to do even more.
Amazing. Wow. Let's carry on and see what is the community saying as well.
Yeah. Is there any advice for coaches with students who didn't respond to coaching? I think you touched a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I have, and I think the other thing is to be honest that, you know, coaching doesn't work for everybody. Well, I think we all know that, and it depends what you mean by it's not working. But because again, if we go in there thinking I want to fix this, then that's just the wrong approach. But sometimes I come away from coaching feeling like a little bit of a fraud because I haven't really coached. I've probably just had a conversation with a child, but sometimes they just need that space, that safe space. And, you know, our opening mantra to children is not just about being here to shine and we're going to help you find your talents and skills and love, what makes you happy. We don't judge. So we're not going to judge. Our conversations are confidential, so they know that. We do say, you know, if there's any child protection issues or any safeguarding, we will talk to parents or we'll talk to school, but we'll let you know we're going to do that. But apart from that, this is just me and you having a conversation. And sometimes that's all children need. So it depends on what you mean by not responding. But it is like I said before, you will know if you're good at what you do, you will know that they need something differently.
Totally. Right. So here is something that.
Yeah. Howla is in praise of you. Howla's a fellow podcaster. Hi, Howla. She says, very informative. We would love to see more educators like you.
Oh, thank you.
And Race Community is saying, can't agree with you more, Howla. Yeah, definitely. We do need more educators like you. Coaching is often a matter of timing, says Martin.
Absolutely. And it varies depending on what that child needs and what they're looking for. So I've worked with some children, and after 3 or 4 sessions, they've been absolutely fine. They're like, oh, miss, I know what I need to do now. I'm like, fabulous. And I've worked with other students, and it's taken a year. I worked with a young girl who absolutely hated herself, had no self-esteem. And it was about a year later when she came back to me and she said, Miss, I looked at myself in the mirror this morning and I told myself that I love what I see. And I'm like, and I did nearly cry. I was like, that has just made my day. But that took a year of weekly coaching. So yeah, it's just about timing, and it's just about being there and being present for that child and being good at what you do, because that's the other thing. There are a lot of, we all know that coaching isn't a regulated industry, so there are coaches out there who actually don't know what they're doing, but you know, qualified coaches who are experienced and love what they do and have the right intentions. Yeah, we're making a massive difference to the lives of our young people. We've got loads more work to do. I've only just got started.
That's we're only started. Only starting now. Exactly. We have lots of things to do, and I know that we're going to change the education system somehow. It was going to take time, but we already started, and it's amazing. Karen, we have 5 more minutes, and I would like you to tell the audience, or yeah, very shortly, what do you think that people can do to turn their passion into a profitable business?
Ooh, so difficult. I think it's about your passion, but it's also about offering value. I think that's what it is, certainly for me. So whenever anyone asks me to do any work, I always ask them, I just did it again today, you know, what outcomes are you looking for? So I know what I can offer. So it is about your passion, knowing that it's going to bring value to somebody, and knowing that there is a need for it. So again, my coach, we spent so much time, I actually got quite frustrated because I am a bit impatient, but we spent so much time working on my niche, my offer. Why would anybody come to me? And she would ask me questions like that. Well, why you? Why would the teacher come to you? Why isn't it? How do you know it's not happening now? So I did a lot of research around, you know, what do schools need? She'd say to me, think about what a head teacher, when they go to bed at night, what are they thinking about? What's keeping them awake around their school? But I did do lots and lots of research about what schools need. I looked at Ofsted reports. So I think it's passion and value.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, and I actually want to point out that you have a coach. You yourself, as a coach, you have a coach as well, which is also very important for everyone who's getting to know a little bit about the coaching world. That yes, coaches have coaches as well. We have to be coached as well sometimes, because we do suffer from imposter syndrome, or we also come with doubts, or we also feel that sometimes we're not good enough, or maybe that why would anybody want to work with me, or why would anybody want to listen to anything that I have to say. So yes, coaching is powerful. Coaching is magical sometimes. I have to also say that that Karen has reminded us that we need time for coaching as well, that things don't happen overnight, that sometimes when we need very profound and deep change, it could take even up to a year of constant weekly coaching for someone to look in the mirror and realize the potential and realize who they are, which I think is absolutely beautiful, especially in our children and in our youth. And we're going to finish here with some comments, and I'm going to ask also Karen to just give us what would be the highlights of this conversation for everyone, Karen.
The highlights of my conversation.
Of this conversation that we have had, and your experience and everything that you have done so far.
For me, I think it's about, I think I've used the word intention a lot. I think your intentions are important. I think it's having a real open mind about the people that you are coaching. For us, our view is that every child has something to offer. We don't care what it is, but we know they have something to offer. And I think it is about having an open mind. And the thing about having a coach, I think it would be hypocritical of me to talk about coaching and how wonderful it is, but then not have one. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, have an open mind. And, there's a lot of children out there that need our help. So we need to be doing more of this, more and more and more.
Thank you, Karen, so much for a great interview, beautiful insights, and very powerful. This is a very powerful conversation. Definitely, I think that our audience agree that we have heard probably something deep, and you are making a difference, and you are helping lots of students, and coaching can actually help students and teachers as well. So thank you very much for accepting the invitation, and we hope to see you more often around here in
Oh, thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me. I've loved it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla, as always. And let me tell you, everyone, Carla from next Wednesday is going to start leading these conversations. So don't miss them, because this woman is an expert podcaster. And I'm sure that she has lots of questions and, amazing, amazing things to bring into this conversation as well. So thank you very everyone for listening, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.